I'm Fisher.
And I'm Ronnie, and today me and Fisher are going to discuss the time period where I started improving after my spinal cord injury and till the point where we feel like it stopped. Fisher, why don't you give everybody a brief rundown about my injury?
Well, he was injured on July 1st, 2010. He spent about a year in the hospital, and he had a C3 spinal cord injury.
Paralyzed from the neck down. And my injury was an injury where I never required surgery. My C3 vertebrae barely got into my spinal cord, which caused swelling, and that's what caused my injury, and it is a C3 incomplete injury. I'll kind of take over the first stages of my improvements because Fisher, he was only like 2.5 years old when I first got injured. And so when I was at the Shepherd Center, first off, I went to Vanderbilt for 30 some odd days in intensive care. Then I got sent to the Shepherd Center for rehabilitation. And when I got to the Shepherd Center, I was still on the ventilator and I had not improved any. I was still paralyzed from the neck down. Couldn't move anything below my neck or down on a ventilator. Probably, if I remember right, around 2 months into it, 3 months into it, I started getting a little bit of movement in my shoulders, and it worked itself down from that point pretty fast. And by 6 months or so at the Shepherd Center, not 6 months, I'm sorry, 6 months after my accidents, you know, I was starting to get some movement, and it was going down my arms and no leg movement yet. But I was on a sip and puff chair, but I was getting closer and closer with my arm movement and my little bit of finger function. I was getting closer to using my power chair with my hand. Now, once I got to the point to where I could drive my wheelchair with my hand, I mean, it was literally just a up and down to get it up on the armrest to run the wheelchair. But that was a step in the right direction. And so probably, 7 months after my accident, 8 months after my accident, I actually had regained my arms pretty decently. I don't really know, but they used an apparatus that went over my shoulder that was controlled by rubber bands, believe it or not. And that's actually how I learned how to feed myself at the Shepherd Center, was with that big metal device that come over and it would hook up to my arm, and them rubber bands would really help me with, and that's really how I started. And even brought that home from Shepherd Center. I brought that home and I was still using that to feed myself even when I got home. But my leg muscles had started firing at the Shepherd Center. And that is a kind of a brief overview, say, 10 months in. Now, like I said, I go home for 1 month, but I go right back for the day program. And when I go back for the day program, that is where I start really getting a lot of my arm function back. Not a lot of leg function yet, but a lot of arm function. And so now, we're right at a year after my accident. I've been back to Shepherd Center for the day program. I'm home, I'm back to work, and my arm function, I'm able to type very slowly with my right hand, and I'm using my keyboard, and which I think stuff like that is the things that I think really help progress my improvements. Is I used a keyboard instead of like the Dragon program. I refuse to do that. That's where you talk into the computer and it types for you. I had a little bit of hand function, and so I used it. And I really believe that determination made a big difference in my recovery. About a year after I'd been home, it was me and Fisher at this point, and my lift was the type that was like on the ceiling, but it was on 2 bars that had a track on it that went over my bed, which allowed me to get in and out of bed by myself because it was run by remote control. So at this point, I'm still not transferring by myself. Any transferring I done was either with Fisher's help at that age, or I was transferring with that in and out of bed. And
Dad, in 2014, you started using a urinal, you started driving, and you started dating again.
Yeah, that 2014 was a big year for my recovery. So 4 years after my accident, that was my year of the biggest gains. Still to this day, that's the year that I gained the most, was 4 years after my accident. I started driving, which gave me a lot of independence. I started dating, but that stuff is, you know, like dating is not necessarily, mentally it's a big improvement, but the urinal, I actually had a Foley catheter for 4 years. And in 2014, I lost it and I started self-cathing. And then after about 2 months, I realized that I was self-cathing when I knew I had to go to the restroom. I could feel it. And I was actually holding it. And so then I just started using a urinal. And now, just real quick, we'll fast forward to 2021. My bladder control is as good as it was, or better, believe it or not, than it was before my accident. But I guess I should back up. I'm actually go to the Shepherd Center in 2014 for a day program. Do you remember that, Fisher?
Yeah. I brought my Xbox with me, didn't I?
Yep, we went to Legoland. Remember that? Yep. Okay. And that is where I made the transition from the Foley catheter to the urinal. And I also started using the Locomat there. And, you know, by then I'd got a lot of leg function back. And I've got a lot of leg function now. But that was definitely, you know, that time period, boy, I was really improving. And the lull.
That I noticed when I'm washing your back, washing like the top of your neck, like your filling right there has got a lot better. Like,
but what Fisher means by that is in 2000, around 18, 19, you know, I could still feel, but if you touch me anywhere below, like right here, it just didn't feel right, and it felt like pins and needles going down the middle of my back. You know, it didn't hurt unless I was getting touched. And what Fisher means by that is like today, if Fisher's washing my back or if I've got an itch or something, I used to love to have my back scratched before my accident. And today, it feels just like it did before my accidents. But it does, it feels normal. And so that improvement has definitely come, you know, in the last couple years.
That I've noticed in the past year or two that you have gained a lot of leg and foot and toe function. Back in like 2014, you could not move your toes.
No, and so in the last couple years, like Fisher said, I've regained a lot more leg function, and now I can, on my left toes, I can move
every one of them besides, I think, your big toe.
No, I can move them all except for my pinky toe, little toe. And then on my right hand foot, I can move my big toe and my second toe. And so I basically got 4 toes I can't move. So I have regained, in the 10 years that I've been hurt, I have regained all movement except for 4 toes. Now keep in mind, I'm obviously still in a wheelchair, and keep in mind, you know, you watch the videos of ours, I definitely got motor function problems. That's very obvious. But still to this day, I'm improving.
That one thing the doctors at Shepherd Center told you is to not give up, and they told you it would take time for you to recover, but once you recover, it'd get easier and easier.
Well, they did. You know, there is no 2 injuries are the same, Fisher. And, you know, I see a lot of stuff on social media and stuff, and I always try, when I comment on that stuff, I try to tell people where I come from, how much improvement I've saw, but I also try to tell them, you know, look, everybody recovers differently. That's the number one thing that you have to remember about recovery, is no 2 people have the same injury, no 2 people recover the same. I may recover better than you did, but the next person may recover better than I did. You never ever know who's going to recover the best or how much you're going to recover, and you never know how long it's going to take to recover. A spinal cord injury is a mystery. That is the number one thing the doctors at the Shepherd Center told me. As much as they know about it, it's still a mystery. Did they feel like I would improve something? Yes, but they would never guarantee me that I would. And so always keep in mind, keep a positive attitude that something could happen. You know, something could improve. It may take a year, it may take 2 years, it may take 5 years. And, you know, if you're watching this video, and give us an idea of and other people ideas of how long it took you to improve. You know, how long has it been since you improved the last time? Or did you improve in a year and not anymore? Or did it take 5 years to improve? Make sure to put that stuff in the comments. This is the stuff that can help people, and that's the kind of stuff that can give people hope or basic idea about a spinal cord, because every day somebody's getting a spinal cord injury. Every day it happens, and every day there's going to be people looking at this stuff, and they're going to need direction, you know, of, you know, how long does it take? Can I improve? Will I improve? Is it possible? And these kind of comments is what leads us to helping people in the future.
Well, that's a pretty good time period of how you improved.
It is, and we got one little cat walking across the TV back there. No, that's okay. There she is. There she is. There's the kitty. That is a good overview, a quick overview. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. Put the comment and I will answer them. And if you want to ask Fisher something about my injury, about my recovery, make sure that you put them in the comments. I'll make sure Fisher answers them. And, you know, again, we want to push out to everybody. Keep the hope. Keep your hopes up. Keep the positivity up. You know, it's not the end. A spinal cord injury is not the end. You can improve. You may not. But a lot of times improvement is mentally. And that's where I have improved the greatest. Right, Fisher?
Yeah, because the more mental tough you are, the more easier, I would say, you know.
Well, mental toughness is some of it, Fisher, but just understanding that, hey, this is my life. Make the best of it. I got Fisher.
Like he said, he changed his life whenever that happened. He in the last video, he said he forgot his old life and he just kind of started fresh.
That's right, Fisher. And so, again, make sure to look us up on Instagram, Fisher and Ronnie. Make sure to look us up on Facebook, Fisher and Ronnie. Follow us on both. Keep up us with there. Make sure to
like, share, comment, subscribe.
Definitely share these videos. We love y'all. Go get her, Fish. There's the kitty, everybody. Hey, kitty. Bonus coverage.
Wow.
Group hug.
Group hug.
Good bonus coverage.
Bye.